Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Orphanlast, aka Skylar Madison, and today I'm coming at you with another Noblefrugal Studio collaboration video where I'm painting out this background, and Noblefrugal Studio, which is a channel on YouTube, will basically go ahead and take this background and animate a complex scene using my background. And that's something that I've been looking forward to for quite some time, and yeah. The guy who runs Noblefrugal Studio, his name is Sebastian. He's a really good guy. I like his teaching style. His channel is centered right now 100% on open tunes, and he's been teaching it actually longer than I have. Like I said, I do recommend his channel. If you guys would like to take a look at it, feel free to look in the video description below where there is a link to his channel, even if it's just to take a look at his channel just so that you can go ahead and watch him animate this background and everything, animate things in the background and all that. Feel free to check it out. Anyways, so far you saw me add shadows that I forgot about in my initial pass on the first building that I've tackled every single step of the process. And here I'm refining a shadow that was just irregular, and it's been bothering me ever since I made it, so I've gone ahead and refined it. And that got me to kind of think, well, this shadow that I'm working on, it's pointing to the left of this, that basically, I believe it's a soffit. It's pointing to the left of the soffit, so shadows should exist to the left of every object. Highlights shouldn't. So I'm redoing a little bit of the work that I did in the previous video, primarily because I put highlights to the left of objects, below objects on this building, and that was a really bad choice. And so here I am with kind of a darker brown, just kind of fixing that up. You know, it doesn't take too much time to redo this work here, especially since now I've already gone through the process and there's no thought process behind it. I already know how to do it. You know, it's easy to make a mistake and notice it and then think, oh no, you know, I'm not going to fix that. I've already committed myself to the course that I've already set. It's really easy to do that. And you may think, oh yeah, you know, that kind of damages my pride. Who gives a crap about pride? Because in the end, what's going to happen is if you don't fix it right there, right then, even though you might not have caught it early on, as you progress each and every step of making the masterpiece, what's going to happen is you're going to get further and further away from that critical point, to the point to where if you were to fix it near the tail end, it'd be nearly impossible. I mean, it'd just take too long to do it. It wouldn't be worth your while. So once you make a mistake, even if it took you an entire drawing session or 2 or 3, you know what? Go back and fix it. Because every single time that you wind up looking at that drawing, what's going to happen is you're going to look at it and you're going to think, oh gosh, man, yeah, you know, that was a mistake. Because you never fixed it. I mean, it doesn't matter how many compliments you get about it in the future. People will be, oh wow, you're such an amazing artist. And since you are the artist that made it, you recognize that mistake. Because of your pride, you didn't fix it, and it doesn't matter what anyone tells you. The picture's a failure. And so, yeah, make sure you fix any mistakes that come along the way. And with these shadows right here, all the horizontal shadows, I was able to nail down a workflow that seemed like it made sense in order to determine just where the shadow should be. But for the vertical shadows, it seemed like a lot of guesswork for some reason. I don't know what it was. It's just there was no way that I could immediately decipher, okay, this is how to make a shadow there. But in the end, I am not opposed to little shortcuts, eyeballing it occasionally. If the majority of your image is on point, eyeballing it occasionally doesn't hurt. I mean, because the human eye is very impressionable. I remember drawing this character that had 3 fingers. It was kind of an alien sort of character. And I showed it to my art teacher in high school. And he took a look at it, and he said it looked wonderful, whatever. And I said, I really like the 3 fingers. He had 2 thumbs and 1 actual finger. And he says, well, the human eye just, it assumes things. And so even though you drew out 3, people will just see 5. So it doesn't matter what you draw in that situation. In order for people to notice something like that, you'd have to do something to bring attention to the hand, such as foreshortening and have it pointing right at the screen or something. And I thought that was interesting, and he has a valid point. There are hidden objects inside of pictures all the time, and people don't notice people don't notice those sorts of things. Even like Photoshop mistakes, sometimes it takes a long time for people to notice Photoshop mistakes after it's gone through like 10-15 different people to actually get that photoshopped image published. It takes years, and it's only until like it gets published and after hundreds of thousands of people look at it till one of them is like, oh, well, that looks kind of weird. And yeah, that sort of thing. Anyways, so I'm really liking how everything that I'm doing right now with this image, how it's all turning out. There are a few things that I think that I would do differently. Next time I go about making a background, such as making a thumbnail. Now, on digital media, if you make a thumbnail, that's your sketch. Pure and simple. That's your sketch, because after you're done sketching it out, thing is if you try to make a rough sketch that's really big, it can be pretty daunting because you're not, especially with a graphics tablet. Maybe not so much with a Cintiq, but with a graphics tablet, you're having to zoom in all the time and look at the image and just over and over and over again, and it just it takes forever to get the sketch done, and that's not what the sketch is supposed to do. You're supposed to be able to get through a sketch fairly quickly, fairly easily. It's the masterpiece that is like the final product of that picture that's supposed to take a while. And in digital medium, if you're trying to sketch something out the same way that you would on a normal piece of paper, it's going to take a really long time, and it may not be even worth your while because there's processing speeds and all that you have to worry about. And so just drawing out a very, very small version of it and then using the transform tools and just blowing that thumbnail image out just really big to the full scale size that the image is going to be, ta-da, you already have your sketch. And so I think I'm going to, next time I draw out a background, the next background project that I work on, I'm going to actually focus on that. Just, I'm going to start out with a thumbnail. I'll have like 5 or 6 different versions of it. And then I'll create a poll and have my viewers go ahead and vote on that poll. And you guys will essentially be able to decide exactly what I'm going to be drawing. So that, I hope, will be, fun for you guys, being able to pick what of 3 or 4 different options of a thumbnail I'll be turning into a masterpiece. And you'll be able to see how a thumbnail can be incorporated into a workflow. Now, there's something about thumbnails that I'd actually like to talk about. Like, even animators use thumbnails. They have the they have the storyboard, which is usually like for every single time that the camera changes, either from one camera to another or from one camera angle to another, basically. that is one image inside of a storyboard. And then what the animator does is they use that one image as inspiration, and they draw a number of breakdown images in the size of a thumbnail, and then they show it to their director, and they say, well, what do you think of these ideas for this particular portion of the movie that we're making? And so it's a much more refined kind of, storyboard in a way. Them drawing out all these different little thumbnails of different actions that are going to take place inside of the portion of the animation that they're working on. And so thumbnails are a time-tested technique. Even you don't necessarily have to be working in digital medium, and animation is an example of that. Like, they've been doing that since the very beginning. Now, Todd McFarlane was the top artist in DC, Marvel, and then he eventually made Image Comics. Rob Liefeld, and Jim Lee. Jim Lee right now has the crown as the best artist, and it's well deserved. But in the 1990s, Todd McFarlane was the best comic book artist out there, bar none. Like, he created Spawn and did a lot of really inspirational things. And one of the things that he said is, it really helps to be able to draw really small thumbnail images, and just, the quick, visceral movements of the pencil and stuff like that. When you draw out the masterpiece that's going to wind up being the final page, consisting of all the different panels and everything like that, you want to make sure that you incorporate the same exact feeling of the thumbnail. And that right there, that you don't want to lose the organic nature of what was in the thumbnail when you draw out the final piece. And really, I do believe that digital media is best equipped to preserve the visceral nature of a thumbnail, because you're actually using the thumbnail as the sketch. So I'm really looking forward to working on that when I eventually finish the Noblefrugal Studio collaboration series, which hopefully it'll be done by video number 30, but we'll have to take a look and see how that turns out. But even still, even though I'm looking forward to being done with this painting, I am very happy with it. I'm very satisfied with how everything is looking. I'm thinking that eventually that yellow building to the right of the image that's closest to us, I am going to add some shadows to it, because I added all these shadows to this building to the left of the image, and it looks great. But now that I did that, I'm looking at this yellow building and I'm thinking, man, that yellow building is looking pretty sparse now. So I need to go back and refine that a little bit more. Add some shadows to that. Yeah, that sounds good. So yeah, anyways guys, that pretty much concludes it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you didn't like it, please like, share, and subscribe anyways. If you'd like to take a look at any of my other videos, feel free to do so. They're on the screen right now.